Oh man, we are live. Welcome to Cognitive Rampage podcast, man. It's your
Oh
host,
shit.
Matty Lowery. As always, Nowdy, I hear you in the background, bro. Did you finally get up and do something now today, Nowdy?
Huh?
Did
Said
you
you
find?
finally get up and do something today. Yeah, I actually took a shower. It's been about 3-4 days since I've taken one, bro. So it's
This
good to
nigga's in
get
a
in there
robe.
and get
This
refreshed.
dude is in a robe. You're in a fucking
I'm
robe.
sure Maddie's appreciating this shit right now. But yeah, anyway, I got to rest my voice, guys. I got to do a course and whatnot. But
Did you?
Matty Martin is he's one of the most monstrous fucking people I've ever met. I've been telling Adam to get him on the podcast for a while, and he's a real humble dude. So just don't expect a lot of arrogance from the fucking guy. But he's got a lot of really really good shit to say. He trains fighters and whatnot, and he has a very very unusual way about learning fighting in general. Like the way he goes about learning in general, and the way he begins to apply his techniques is just. He's a very, very matter of fact dude, very objective. Everything's about testing with the fucking guy, and you will not meet a lot of people like him. So, if that can hopefully socially proof him a little bit, so that way you guys open your minds up, that'd be good. Anyway, I got to get the fuck going. I got to rest my vocal cords for later today, guys. Hope you're all well.
Oh
Take
man,
care, Adam. Good to see you. Bro.
you too, brother, man. I hope you're doing well out there, man. Killing it. I know it, man. I thought that dude showed up in a robe, man.
Hell yeah, bro. Take care, brother. I'll be talking to you soon, bro, when I get back to the States.
Yeah, man. Come on back, baby. You know I love you.
Good to see your face, man. Take care.
Oh man, I wish my wife would say that. See, I tried to joke. It didn't work, man. See?
Sorry, bro. I can't hear you. You're not real loud. Go
Oh,
for
no.
it.
Yeah, you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was cracking a joke. You said, good to see your face. I said, I wish my wife said that.
Yeah, all good, bro. No, Nowdy's big booming voice just drowned you out.
Yeah, dude. That's one hell of an intro, though, man. Shit, you couldn't have asked for a better
Yeah,
hype guy to come on and give you an intro.
yeah. Feel like I've been overinflated already.
Well, I'll see if I can burst some of that bubble, but I doubt it, man. He started us off right there, man. Let's just walk right into that shit. How do you look at fighting? How do you learn fighting? What's different? What's new? What do you do?
Um, I don't know, mate. Like it's just to look at the body different. So it's details like you wouldn't believe. Like I was explaining it to Nowdy the other day. It's, when you're a white belt in jiu-jitsu, they teach you a move, whichever move you want to say, like an armbar. You learn maybe 3-4 details as a white belt. Then you come back and learn the armbar again as a black belt, and you get maybe 27 details. And you know what I mean? It's just those little details are starting to become more aware in the body movement, in striking and weight distribution and sequencing of moves. Like this week, we were explaining how to do the hook, like a boxing hook, to one of the guys in the class. He's a Muay Thai fighter. And Natty was explaining the whip effect and how the pelvis moves first before the ribs. And the guy's like, that doesn't make sense, rah, rah, rah. And then when you seen him throw the hook, he didn't realize what he was doing because now the frames of like 120 frames per second. So it's, you know what I mean? Like it's the little tiny adjustments in the microseconds that I'm starting to become aware of now. And it actually makes quite a significant difference.
So you train fighters now. So I imagine I know you're a biomechanic, FP specialist. I know you do all that as well. So is it that and MMA training?
Yeah, I have a full-time job, like a money-making job that I kind of have to do. And then my passion is definitely, yeah, with striking, with the fighters, and obviously with FP. That definitely opened my eyes a lot. I try to incorporate the two together, but yeah, I don't have a really good facility where I am at the moment. I'm trying to make the best. It's making me become resourceful, I guess.
Well, it's the best way. When I talk to people about trying to start their businesses or careers, and like, well, we just don't have capital. I'm like, man, that can be a good thing that you don't have capital, man. It makes you be resourceful. If you're set out to make it happen, you can find a way. You'll get ingenious. You'll create new ways to do it. But if you're just waiting to launch something and waiting on that investor and this magical and this stuff generally for the most part doesn't work and it doesn't play out that way, man. So it's about the crossover, man. It's crossing over and slowly making that process to do it, or sometimes just jumping in. I'm gonna go back too, because Nowdy, I've watched a few videos when he talked about like the hook or punching and being able to use the myofascia all the way down from the feet all the way up. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I've probably done close to 10 years training in striking and stuff like that. And I've never even had a quarter of the details that like when you go to a striking class, even if you go to Thailand, I went and learned Muay Thai in Thailand. 3 different times I've been there. And I've been to several different camps over there. And those guys are ridiculously good at what they do. They're absolute monsters at what they do. But it doesn't mean that they can cognitively understand why they are good, if that makes sense. So they don't understand every single fiber on their body and the timing that it is supposed to turn on and why it's supposed to turn on. But they know that they can do it and they know what it feels like when they do it, but they can't intuitively give that gift to you, if that makes sense. So I've been over there and you do the classes with them. I've trained 2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours in the afternoon, 6 days a week for 7-8 weeks at a time with these. And you get private classes one-on-one with them for an hour at a time. You can do all this stuff and you definitely improve a lot and it's definitely worthwhile. But you don't get anywhere near the details that you get when you're working with, when you know the biomechanics behind it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, when you talk,
yeah,
when you use the beginning example about learning an arm bar as a white belt, learning an arm bar as a black belt, that's a big difference because you're more aware of everything else that could happen or you could do or they could do, etc. And, you know, it seems, I mean, look, if you're going to handle some high-powered firearm, the best thing you want to know is how to use it, how to take it apart, how to put it together, what every little thing does in that weapon, etc. So if, I mean, look, your body is a weapon once it's trained like that. So I can see why as a fighter, you'd want to know how to and begin to learn how you do what you do. That way you could improve that by utilizing, you know, basically your entire body to do that motion, whatever the sport is, fighting or anything.
Yeah, like here's another way to put it. Like they talk about putting things through the meat grinder. So in Thailand, they've got, I don't know, I'm going to say millions of fighters that come through the system. And then at the end, they all start as kids over there. It's a huge tradition. So 5-year-olds are coming in to start training and they train right through. And it'll be a vast amount of 5-year-olds come in. And then as they go on through the years, only the good ones stay. So if I got you to throw 10,000 kicks and you were really coordinated, you would become incredibly good on your own just from repeating the task over and over and intuitively finding the best way. So yeah, they will correct you and they will give you little details, but nowhere near to the level that I'm starting to see now through functional patterns and through Natty's guidance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So yeah, the same thing in the class. Like I was talking the other day, some people in our class have no training history at all. They're accountants and whatnot. And some people have extensive training history and they understand the body and it's all different. So if you get a really coordinated guy and he's already like has the proprioception, everything required, he's got really, really good, what they would say, athletic ability. And then you get another guy that's very uncoordinated, very disconnected, no training history, has no reference points when you're explaining to him. If you got both of them to throw 10,000 kicks over 10 weeks or whatever, there would be a substantial difference at the end, even if you were giving them 5 details about the kick, if that makes sense. But if you took them and gave them all these details about and reference points as to muscle activation in the body, sequencing, weight distribution, yeah, all this different stuff, if you gave them all the details through functional patterns, then they're going to improve. The guy that has no experience and no ability is going to improve a lot more than he would than with the traditional style. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the guy that's biomechanically, he already has the coordination and athletic ability. Even that guy will definitely improve because unless he's already perfect, there's going to be things that we can pick up on it. You know what I mean? I hope I made sense there.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway,
don't worry, man. I'm trying to. We're gonna pull that cognitive rampage out. Don't worry. I mean, I don't know if it's. I got to bring up one of my cognitive posts when you answered with the book I should have been reading at the time.
Yeah.
Well, now it's slipping my mind.
Tyranny of words.
Yes, tyranny of words, sir. Oh my god. When you posted that, man, first I'm like, you know what? fuck this guy, man. Fuck this guy. But I don't, on the tribe, I always have that response, right? Like a typical person would do, right? And then, but in the tribe, I don't. I always like, everything's welcome, please. And then when you argue back inside, I was also like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, let's teach me something now, motherfucker. Let's go. And so I love it. And look, I think I've told a few people that have been over here. I think I've even said it on a podcast, man. One of my good friends, Dr. Parker Mott, who's been on the show a few times, we were chatting the other night, and he was like, that dude, Matty, he's like, man, before I ever post in Tribe of Change, for some reason, this dude goes through my head, and then I got to make sure I have all of my I's dotted, my T's crossed. And not just you either, too. There's like Alex, who's probably listening now. There's a lot of people that get so interactive and drop so many knowledge bombs and are not afraid. Even the teacher lady today who went at my post about the weed or whatever. I mean, I love the tribe so much, dude. But the point is you got doctors, psychologists, myself, professors, everybody that goes to post. They always say, I check my shit. I'm like, I gotta make sure. I read the article thoroughly now. Some people just share some shit. They read the article now. They get deep into it. They're like, man, because I know if I post it, there's gonna be a few people that are just gonna fucking take me to the wall with this shit. And you're one of them, dude. You're fucking one of those people, man.
Yeah, well, that's humbling, and I appreciate that. We're all each other's guides, you know what I mean? We got to keep each other on track. I go off track all the time. I've noticed Natty's way of life is pretty awesome. The way that he selects the right people to be around him. It's like Jack Fresco says, that you can what you react to, but you also have some control over your environment, certainly some influence over your environment. So if I choose the right people to be around me, then I know that those are the people that are going to influence me. So then that kind of directs me in the way that I go through my life. So that's what I'm trying to do. Whenever I'm online, whenever I'm in real life, I try to do the same thing. And that's a positive outcome. If people are checking their stuff and making sure of what they're saying, that's to me, that's good. I'm happy about that. And I love it when people do that to me, man. You'll catch me saying shit that's wrong all the time, and you just jump on me, and I'll be like, damn, thanks. That's how you learn, man.
I got to be honest. I look to get your ass.
Yeah.
I'm hunting your ass. I'm like, post some shit and don't read it. Come on, man. I'm serious.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I understand that. I understand the way that I conduct myself can put a target on my head, but that's cool. Bring it. It's not that you will. I wholeheartedly know I will make mistakes all the time, but that's I need that, man. I need that target on my head. I need people to keep me on my feet, on my toes.
I think that's my way of saying thanks for keeping a target on me and making sure I'm on my shit, man. Making sure
cool.
if anything, questioning, going further. You know what I mean? And being willing to question things, and walk further. We shared a few text messages, man, or a few messages on Facebook a few times. I've been trying to get your ass on here for a minute, man.
You have, yeah.
You're like, I got Dr. Carl Hart on before you, bro.
Yeah, I know. You've had some pretty big guests, mate, and I just didn't see a lot of value in me coming on, but you wanted it, so you got it, bro.
Well, man, I wanted to end up going deep down into some of the stuff we talk about, but before we get into tyranny of words and further, and I can try to pull some of that out of you, I can. But so, what's it like, man, having Natty there with you, man, doing the licensure, the certifications? I mean, what's it like, man? Take some of the people watching and listening. What's it like being a part of that event? How long does it last? Get into that for a minute. What's it been like, man?
All right, so we're doing I just come down to help Natty. He's done 2 courses in Sydney at the moment. The first one was level 1, which was last week. Goes for 5 days, pretty much all day, like a full-time job. And I flew down only for level 2 because I couldn't get too much time off my full-time job back home. So I've been here since Saturday, so 4 days with Natty, and we got today and tomorrow in the class as well. And yeah, it's good, man. It's watching. I remember when I was there doing my level 1. I didn't do a level 2. I went to the master course, but I remember when I did my level 1, and I remember like the different levels of people in the class, feeling way out of my depth. There was like physios and everything there, and people with vastly more experience with the anatomy and the human body than what I had. I was coming in strictly from a martial arts background, realistically, and yeah, it's good to see their journey and help them out where I can, both biomechanically and just in general, like giving them some confidence in going forward and yeah, picking up where they might get lost, trying to guide them in the right direction. You see some of the guys, they get a little bit shy and they try to hang at the back of the class, or you just try to put them out of their comfort zone, I guess, is probably the best way to say it. It's been great though. With me where I am, I'm living in a small town a long way away from all other FP practitioners, and we do have that online back and forth, but it's definitely not the same. When you hanging out with Natty, man, has brought me right back onto the track, you know, like I was kind of a little bit wayward and I was trying to do my thing, but it comes back to that Jacques Fresco thing and surrounding yourself with the correct people, you know. They're going to keep you on track all the time, and having Natty here is just, it's amazing, and it's good to see. You get a lot of insights now from listening to him explain things to other people. It's like maybe he gives them 10 details and I might have known 8 of them, but those other 2 just open up a whole new set of doorways for me, you know. It's like, oh, that makes sense here and here and here. And yeah, it's really good to have the right influences around you. And now he's definitely on the right track, is from my perspective. So it's good to have him here, mate.
Yeah, I can tell he's definitely been working on. You've been working FP because you manage the emotion. You're on top of it. You're staying here. You know what I mean? It's good that you keep in mind, you know, that you're kind of walked in, or there's white belts in FP, if you will, you know, sitting in there hearing words they probably can't pronounce, shit they've never fucking seen. I mean, if there's anything lower than a white belt in biomechanics, it's probably what I'm wearing. And, you know, and I read this motherfucker shit all the time. You know what I mean? So there is that difference between really practicing it, being around that, because the more Nowdy and I got to know each other beyond the podcast and talking, you know, a lot, I could see that what he's doing in FP, I love the fact that it's not just this physical thing. It's all the way back to indoctrination. It goes into the cognitive. It goes into the belief. I mean, it goes that far, and I didn't learn that really until him and I shared deeper conversations about life. And then, I mean, I myself got hooked, you know, that same way. And I love that, man, that indoctrination breaking, that it doesn't just start by here's your form, tilt this, move this here. You got to have that cerebral breakthrough first.
Yeah. Yeah, he's what does he call it? Behavioral science or whatever it is. He's right into that sort of stuff, man. Like, I'd never really even heard that term until I met him, but yeah, it's hard to put into the right words, I guess. Obviously, we didn't prepare for this. This is all on the spot. But yeah, so just the way that he looks at people and the way that he connects to people, and just within the biomechanics training, it's awesome. And we have so many conversations back here at the apartment about life and about just listening to what his mind is on when he's down and out, when he's just chilling, where his mind goes. And yeah, it's like that, my profile picture at the moment, what you do when no one's watching. Like, yeah, it's hard to, where he's at is where I want to be at. The where he's just constantly hustling is probably the best way to say it. He believes in this shit, right or wrong. He wouldn't be where he is if he didn't wholeheartedly believe in it. You know what I mean? And it's not a face. It's not a show. It's when he's at home, he's beating on his craft all the time. He's constantly researching, thinking. Like, we went to the UFC gym in Sydney last night. We did a Muay Thai class there. And at the end of it, one of the students from our FP class, who's a Muay Thai fighter, he got Nowdy to hold pads for him, and then he held pads for Nowdy, just really, really short, just like, I don't know, 1 or 2 rounds each. But he was saying he was totally blown away by the power that Nowdy can, and speed and precision that Nowdy can produce. Without, like, Nowdy doesn't train Muay Thai, man. You know what I mean? He's not there. See, this guy comes from the traditional Muay Thai background where you're busting your balls every day. You're smashing on your craft. Whereas Nowdy's all about preparation. So he's constantly thinking about connections and adjustments, and you'll see him. He'll give a discussion to the class, like, this is what I want to do, give a demonstration. Then he'll help some people, and then he'll get 5 minutes to himself, and he'll be in the corner just like going through his mind. This connects to here, then this moves, and this shifts. He's always on it. He's never off. You know what I mean? And so this guy couldn't believe, like, how good Nowdy was at Muay Thai on the pads, considering he's done relatively very, very low hours. Like this guy's probably done, the guy that was holding pads for Natty has, I'm going to guess, well over 2,000 hours that he's done on the pads, you know what I mean? Whereas I can't speak for Natty, but from my guess, I'm going to say Natty's probably done maybe 100 hours, if he's lucky, you know what I mean? And this guy's just incredible, the way that he moves. He's only a small man, but he can generate ridiculous power. It's crazy to see it. And it's because of that preparation. Like, that's the big thing that I've got from Natty. It's when you're training a fighter, you've got that idea, you know, you've got to push everything. Everything's got to be hard. But the preparation phase, the technique phase, the small adjustments in the punches and the weight distribution, just taking, if you say I video my fighter sparring, we might take 12 frames from that video, and then I can make 6 adjustments in those 12 frames, you know what I mean? And then we'll make a drill and repetition out of that, and we can create FP movements from those 12 frames to fix that. And then he'll spar again, and I'll video it again, and we'll see if we change anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like incredible level of detail that I'm starting to see now. But yeah.
Well, you talked about that in the beginning too, with you know, if somebody was an athletic person and got into a sport or something and was taught that, but then somebody that had biomechanic training and then was brought into it would excel faster, etc. Doing that, you know, I think Eddie Bravo talked one time about some break dancers that walked in a 10th planet and wound up being, you know, just almost naturals at it, you know, because they move that way, even with no hours on the mat at all. You know, they were able to pick something up. So, you know, being trained like that, I can definitely see a different, you know, functioning, if you will, a functional pattern, if you will, that brings more stamina, power, all of that.
Yeah, so I guess a good point that I need to make here is when people come in like yourself, say you were to come into my gym and you were say, I want to do some Muay Thai, right? If you come in and you don't have, I'm going to say, complete command of every muscle in your body, and you can, if I say, turn this muscle on, turn that muscle on, you can just go bang straight away. If you don't have total control and command of your body, you're missing a lot of reference points, and you're missing a lot of the ability that I need when I say, here, kick this pad like this. Does that make sense? So, for example, at the end of the master course, in the start of this year, we did a master course. So by the end of that master course, we weren't all perfect, but we'd been working on our shit for 7 weeks pretty much every day. There was guys there that had never trained at all, and I was getting them to do a Thai round kick, and they were lighting the pads up, man, like totally surprised me the amount of power they could generate because they understood, they had all these reference points, and they had, do you understand what I mean when I say reference points? Good. So they had all these reference points I'm giving them these.
Go further, Matty. Go explain the reference point and circle back. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's like a reference point is that internal understanding of this muscle connection at this angle, if that makes sense. So like, say you're doing, say we're doing a transverse twist, right? So when I'm doing a transverse twist, I'm lighting up certain muscle patterns, and I'm doing, like, we're talking specific stuff, like pec major stuff. We're talking all these specific muscles, and in specific contexts with the weight distribution going through the floor, like ground force going through your body into the handle, and then through the exercise. So then that tension in your body can then be referenced to, okay, now I need to kick. I've got this tension. I can give those reference points to them as they're kicking, you know what I mean? You need to rotate your pelvis, which means you need to light this muscle sequence up. Things, do you know what I mean? And they've got that reference point, so when I say, okay, do this, they go, oh, that's what I did back then, it's just in a different context now, if that makes sense. Yeah, no? Okay.
Yeah, it makes tons of sense.
So at the end of the... Say again, it does? Yeah? Okay. So at the end of the master course, I was getting like heaps of different guys that had physio backgrounds but no training backgrounds. And when they lit the pads up, it was crazy, man. Like what used to teach... So when I first started training, you'd see good coaches, good what you would call technical coaches in the Muay Thai standard, teaching people how to do the Thai round kick. And it would take some people 3 years to learn it. And even the best people at it would still take a good few months to pick it up properly, you know what I mean? And these guys were getting it very, very good within a matter of 20 minutes. because they already understood how to command their body. You know what I mean? They already understood, oh, this tension goes here. They have all this, what would you say that's proprioception? What would you say that, yeah? They had all these new proprioception connections, understanding, experience in their body. So they were able to command their body much more appropriately, much more efficiently, and completely, I guess would be the word.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, look, let's take a gymnast that starts at 3 years old, right? A swimmer, anybody, right, that starts young. I wonder, now you got to adopt a kid or something, man. And because I wonder what would happen if, you know, like a 3-year-old, 4-year-old baseball player for anything, that you started like a Muay Thai kid, even if you started teaching FP from the very 3 or 4-year-old, what kind of fucking FP Jedi would you fucking have, man?
Yeah, there's definitely some big implications there, man. I see all the time kids like on public transport and stuff like that, getting around the airports and stuff, and you just think, man, that guy needs some help, you know? Like, they don't have the right information to be, they don't even know what level that they're operating on. They're just doing what's normal, you know? But what's normal in society is what you see around you, and the people that you're seeing around you, they're no good either, you know? They don't have a good goal because no one is giving it to them, if that makes sense. They're completely, what do they call it, incompetent and unconscious incompetence, yeah? And keep going about it, yeah. Sorry, bro. Yeah, it's like they're unconscious incompetence, so yeah. I don't know, man. It's going to be hard to get me to open up like you want me to.
It's not about whether I want you to. It's about poking the right button. That's all, my brother. You just give me some time, man. I'll get to that button eventually. We started to get to it about seeing in.
Matty's just going. He's just being fucking humble, people. He's just being fucking humble. When I hear him go off on his own, it's different. But no, he's gonna go off here in a minute. But fucking, he just gotta keep fucking getting after it, dude.
Oh,
dude, you're doing fucking great, man. I don't even know what you're tripping.
Oh, I'm not tripping.
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, I'm eventually going to get to it, my brother. I make them all cry and reveal their whole spiel, man. That's I mean, you are talking to the rampage here, brother. I'm gonna be in the head. I mean, I noticed you when you did start speaking, though. The nonverbal went up and to the right for you. That's how I know it was coming. It was started to come, but you stopped it. You looked up and to the right because you started to think and imagine all the realities that you see around you, the people walking around you, the unconscious walking around. You know, I posted a thing the other day talking about, I know many men that are already dead that walk beside me. You know, it was a reference like that, you know, but you did reference it about you wanting to help them as far as, you know, seeing that unconscious walking, if you will.
Yeah, it's it's way bigger than that, though. Like, it's like you said, how am I going to go into this? How do I get somebody to put importance on their biomechanics? Who cares about that, to be honest? Do you know what I mean? That's where I need real difficulty. If I can get someone to come to me, that's a huge step already. How do you get someone to listen to you when you start speaking biomechanics? People are just, it's so foreign and unimportant to people. So I think that's something that I'm trying to break through at the moment. But once someone's there with you and you can put value, you can put the tension in their body, once I can make people feel certain things, then they're going to start to see the importance. When they start to, and if they stay long enough, they're going to see the results. Then they're sold. They're hook, line, and sinker. They're a lifer then, you know what I mean? But that difficulty is you see people that need this the most. How do you get them to put importance on it? Because they don't even, like, there's so many cultural problems in society. Like, what's important to people now? You look at what's popular in society. What's important? It's rubbish, man. It's garbage. People they're wasting their time on so many things. But I don't want to go too aggressive on this stuff, man, because I don't have it all figured out. I don't have all the answers. I'm trying to find the answers. I'm trying to get on the right track. I'm trying to surround myself with the right people to take me in that direction or help me, guide me in that direction. But yeah, it's.
What's the biggest struggle for you then, Matty? What's the hardest part that makes you veer off course? Where does it pull you at?
Oh, bro. So then now you're going to get into capitalism, and now you're going to get into all of the cultural constructs. What do you call it? Societal constructs or social constructs? Yeah.
Proceed.
So, yeah. So, well, here's my life straight up. You know, like I went through all the system that everyone knows. In Australia. I did an apprenticeship. I went through all the struggles. So I was doing the full-time work. I did 3 jobs. So I was doing a full-time mechanic apprenticeship where I was earning $5 an hour in my first year. Then I was working as a bartender at the night time at a restaurant. And then on the weekends, I would work as a bartender at the nightclub. So I was working 3 jobs, going through all of that. I've done all of the... I can relate to the troubles and the difficulties that people go through in life. Where I am now, I'm a lot better off. I've got my own place. I'm comfortable financially now. But now that I am comfortably financial, now I've got time and I'm afforded the ability to think about things that matter. I'm not in this constant hustle where I'm just running silly trying to make ends meet and trying to, you know what I mean, get all these goals that people put on you. Like you've got to, I don't know about America, but in Australia it's a big thing. You've got to own your own house. You know, that's a huge dream of Australian people. Like to own your own place, it's like crazy. But once I got there, it's like, yeah, cool. This is cool. I own my own house. Sorry, bro, go.
Same dream here, man. It's the same. I know many people, man, that live in cages that they bought.
That's really well said, bro. Good choice of words. Good choice of words.
I have to give credit. That's Eddie Vedder's song, "Society," and so that I'm not quite Eddie, man. That's all Eddie Vedder.
Really, I love that song. I didn't realize those lyrics were in it.
Yeah, the
cages that they built.
The Guaranteed, actually, the song "Guaranteed" from Into the Wild soundtrack. Okay. Yeah, the best soundtrack of all time ever.
It is. It's a great movie too. But yeah.
Top 2.
Anyway, getting off track there. Yeah, so where were we at?
Squirrel. Yeah, that's what happens, man. See that little reference point. I mean, you were starting to walk deep into your struggle, but then how you came out of that struggle. The original question really was, you know, what pulls you off the veer when you said you're coming back into it, you know, being around the right people. What's your veer, man?
There's heaps of them, bro. So I work in a job that I'm not too, like, I wouldn't, if you didn't pay me to do that job, I wouldn't do that job. If you didn't pay me to do functional patterns, I would do functional patterns. That's what I do for free all the time. You know what I mean? With other people. It's not just, I don't work on myself. I work with other people for free all the time. I've spent hundreds of hours with other people for free. I love doing, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's my passion. And not just functional patterns, also striking. I've spent hundreds of hours striking, teaching people striking for free as well. But for me, I come home from my job and I'm exhausted, I'm stressed. It's not good for my health, that job at all. But I'm stuck there, man. I've got to make ends meet, you know. I've got to buy food, pay bills, except all the struggles that everyone has, right? So for me, I've also got addictions, my own addictions, you know what I mean? But not addictions to substances or anything like that. Addictions to silly little things like maybe I want to watch a series on Netflix or maybe I want to play a game on my PS4, you know what I mean? But we all have to unwind, I understand that. But sometimes once I start unwinding, I go too far with it. Maybe I want to sit down and play a game for half an hour, I end up playing it for 4 hours. You know what I mean? So I get stuck in that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff takes me off task. But also researching stuff. Sometimes I'm looking up things on the internet, different subjects that I'm into, and I'll go from one thing to like 10 different things, and I'll spend way too much time doing that. And realistically, it's not pointless. I am learning things, but it's not an efficient way to go down the path that I want to go down, if that makes sense. So what veers me off track? Lots of things, man. Sometimes people... You know, you got to understand that the society that I live in, for example, the Friday before I flew out to come see Natty, yeah? I've got to go down this track. The Friday before I flew out, this is the society that I live in. Everyone goes to work. nobody would be there if they weren't being paid. There's not probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume there's not one person in that whole company, and there's thousands of people in the company, that would be there if you didn't pay them. You know what I mean? And why would they be? But they actually go through there the whole week, the vast majority of them, and they're not happy. They're doing it because they have to do it for the money, but they're not happy doing it. And then Friday afternoon comes, and these guys just come to life. It's incredible to watch, man. Like, people walk past you in the hallway on Monday, and they're like, oh, yeah, hey, man. And they walk past you on a Friday afternoon. And it's not just Monday. It can be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's always the same. It's, oh, yeah, hey, man, did you see this? The voice is just flat. They're not happy at all, you know, unless they're talking about what they might do in the weekend, you know. And then Friday comes and people walk past you, the same people, and they're like, woo, fuck yeah, Friday! You know what I mean? They're going crazy. Friday, motherfucker, woo! People come up to you, almost beer o'clock, bro. You know? Like, that's the culture that I live in, man. So, and that's totally normal, and people are totally happy about that. But that's not helping me, you know? That's just the yo-yo, the roller coaster lifestyle. It's like up and down. You go nowhere on a treadmill, you know? So I'm trying to deal with that. I'm trying to relate to these people because they're good people, man. All these people are good people. They're just, yeah, they've had the wrong influences and experiences.
Asleep, brother.
They don't have the right. Sorry, bro, you go.
Just asleep, brother. That's what they are.
Asleep, yeah. Yeah, unconscious. Yeah, I see where you're going with that. But yeah, so I'm trying to relate to these people, and I'm trying to, you know, interact with them on a good level. But they're not in. I always bring up the subjects that I'm interested in, like sustainability and all this sort of stuff. And they're not really interested in it, you know. Like, I gave an example to one of my workmates the other day, and I was saying, like, because he's right into all this materialistic, like, he loves wakeboarding and motorbiking and four-wheel driving and all that sort of stuff, you know. They're all expensive hobbies, right? So he needs to work in a job that destroys his health and he absolutely hates it, so that he can do these things on the weekend, right? And I said to him, man, what about the whole idea that there's X amount of resources on the planet, there's X amount of people, we've got this whole notion of what the planet can sustain and how much, you know what I mean? So what if somebody did, and I just made a number up, I haven't done these studies, but I'm just saying, what if somebody did a study and they said, okay, we can only burn 20 litres of fuel per week per person, which is probably way more than what we can actually do. But I just said that to him. What would you choose to burn your fuel with? He's like, I said, would you still go wakeboarding? Because I don't know if you know, but wakeboarding boats use a shitload of fuel because they're trying to create a wake. They're pushing, yeah, okay. So I said, would you still go wakeboarding? And he goes, yeah, absolutely. Of course I'd go wakeboarding. And I'm like, well, you'd have to walk to work every day. You'd have to walk to the shops. Anything you wanted to do, you'd have to walk. And when you went wakeboarding, you'd only probably get 20, 30 minutes in because you'd have to tow your boat to the dam, you know what I mean? So would you do all that just for 20 minutes of wakeboarding? And he thought about it. I said, you wouldn't be able to do motorbike riding. He started thinking about it all, and he's like, oh, fuck that. Just let the planet burn, man. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like, and that's normal, bro. Like, to be honest, that's better than normal, because when I start saying that stuff to people, usually they don't even oblige me, you know? They don't even entertain me and that sort of stuff. They just shut me down. Hey, shut up, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? So it's this culture I'm swimming in that is kind of difficult to navigate through, if that makes sense. All these things are influencing me every day for the majority of my day. And when I speak to people like you, and I speak to people like Matty and some of the other FP guys, what we speak about is totally alien to everybody else in my life. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So that sort of stuff does stress me out and does pull me in the wrong directions. And yeah, I understand why they do it, because they're just working on dopamine, you know what I mean? They're working on those highs and lows. It is fun to go wakeboarding, bro. It is absolutely awesome fun, right? And it's not that we shouldn't be able to have fun, but I think we just have to understand that everybody needs to live sustainably if we want to keep existing on this planet, you know?
Yeah, The cognitive dissonances that you beat on. Look, I'm going to venture to say that most people watching live right now and any member of the Tribe of Change experiences what you go through and what you're feeling right there, man. I know any FP member or practitioner or learner I've talked to struggles with the very same thing. And I can tell you that I am terrible at fucking parties. And I know this, and I'm very aware of this shit. And I try to bite my fucking tongue, dude. I do, you know? And so I'll sit there and people start talking about Sunday's football game, or they start talking, or politics. God forbid they bring that shit up when I'm sitting around. And I'm just trying to hang out, right? And they got styrofoam plates and hamburgers and shit, just trying to have a beer. And then here the fuck I go, start talking about pollution and all this crap. And then now I come unglued. The rampage goes off, and 4 chairs are empty around me. And one person's in shock, looking at me like, what the fuck? And then everyone's gone. And I'm looking around like, where'd fucking everybody go? You know what I mean? And the dude next to me, they're always like, hey, look, bro, I just want to eat a hamburger, dog. Like, I'm gonna be over here. I'm sorry I started that shit, man. And I'm just like, but what are we really talking about right now, people? This shit doesn't mean anything. I mean, you say this, you talk about loving your kids, but then this happens. And then what the fuck? You know, then people are like, you're a dick. You know what I mean? And I'm oh, you know what? I'm going to go home, have a beer, turn on the Tribe of Change, or hit them up and say, like, look, I'm going to go live and I'm going to talk to myself for an hour here and vent. You know what I mean? But that's what
I can tell you.
Everybody listening is like that lone wolf. I know they feel that. They get that. I think that's why everybody in the tribe is pretty tight. We're rough on each other, but at the same time, it's that same love, because I think it's weird, bro. Like, the more members that keep joining, I look around, I'm like, this motherfucker's just like me. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck yes. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Yeah,
yeah, man.
That feeling's legit, bro. And I mean, I felt that with Nowdy, bro. The way we've been talking, I'm like, fuck, I need the sun and the surf so I can surf. I can't move to Seattle. I'm like, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? So I know exactly what the fuck you talk about, Matty, man. And I know everyone watching this, for the most part, I'm not going to say for the most part. If they're watching this, they probably feel you. They're probably sitting on the end of this shit right now going, yes, fuck yes, you know? And now I'm going to go back left field. I'm going to dive back in your head, man. I picked up on some things that may help you out, bro. Now that you've been awoke, as people say, and, you know, it happened to me years ago, and the mind, as you talked about Nowdy's mind in the beginning, how it's always gone, but it's always moving, right? It's just adding and adding up, right? And, well, I listened to you once say that now that I have this job that's secure, I have time for FP, etc. So what you're hooked with is the only time you get to do biomechanics is if you sacrifice 60% of your week and then take the other 40% and practice FP, right? And what you said pulls you off are moments you dive down the rabbit hole, right? Where you don't mean to, you make a choice, you follow something. Well, I'm going to tell you to embrace that. And one, you need to stop trying to fight that, is the first thing you need to stop doing. If you sit down and play for 4 hours, motherfucker, play for 4 hours and enjoy that shit. And then go do something else for hours. Nowdy gave someone that I love very much advice that I never fucking heard. I heard a lot of fucking advice, and I never heard this fucking advice, and it fucking worked. And I watched it work with the person I love very much, and it blew me the fuck away. And I was like, what the fuck? And it's very similar to the very advice I'm giving you now, which is, if you want to eat the fucking chocolate, sit down and eat 8 pounds of that shit till you can't fucking eat the chocolate anymore. So if you sit down and play the fucking game, dude, play the fucking game and enjoy it. Because you know what? I know you, Matty. You're going to make up for it on the back end anyway when you get down the rabbit hole of fucking quantum mechanics on YouTube for a fucking 2 hours. You know, so just accept that. And when you can accept that, there's no more of the toil. Remember, we create our own anxiety by choice. And we have the anxiety by choice because we can't go backwards. And so the only reason anxiety ever comes is we have to make a choice, is knowing we can't go backwards. But if you can accept the fact that I can't go backwards and I'm just moving forward, well, then there becomes no choice. Just eat the fucking chocolate. And then the anxiety, the toil becomes and goes away. You know, I'm rampaging, bro. Let me ride. I was talking to someone else or a few other people that go through this. And recently in my life, man, I say recently sometimes, and it could be years, but the fact is, it just makes for a good transition. But, you know, I used to toil a lot in my life, man, about wanting to find this passion, find a job or career that made money, that I just loved to go to all the time. And the problem is, I loved a lot of shit all the time, and I changed. So I would love something for a little while, and I get fucking bored, and I'm like, now what? You know, oh, but then the whole time, inside, I'm going, I'm anti-social constructs. I don't need all that shit. But inside, I'm judging myself because I don't have all that shit. You know what I mean? And then I'm going, I'm hunting this long-term career that I want to love, but I love a lot of shit. And so this long-term toil proceeded until I finally just made the choice. And I said, you know what? I'm the starving entrepreneur, motherfucker. There will be no 401k. There will be no fucking health benefits provided I can't pay for. Fucking deal with it. Fucking deal with it. And so I chose that and say, I'm not a career man. I may love this shit for a couple years. I'm kicking out 4 books in 15 months. I'll be an author for a little bit, but frankly, writing a book's like a fucking lobotomy. So I'm not going to do this shit for fucking ever. You know, I'll be on to something else. Hell, I'm starting a fight promotion, bro. We're throwing a new vintage fight series we're starting down here, man, with ESPN. So who knows? I may replace Dana White in fucking 4 years. Somebody's got to. You know what I'm saying?
Fuck yeah, man.
You know, so the choice, when I made that, when we can accept, when we can say, this is who the fuck I am at this point, at this moment, but I am aware that I'm never just who I am, that I'm constantly changing and evolving. The toil of what we have to do, the future, the choice, it goes away, because guess what? When I took the choice away of, well, I got to choose career or follow my dreams all the time and passions, and well, the thing you have to accept are the things that may not come with it, like this. If you can't hold down this 9 to 5, have a 401 and go to Europe once a year, if you can't do that, well, guess what? You're probably not going to have one of those relationships that fucking Budweiser and Blue Moon sells you on a commercial, all right? The shit just ain't happening. So you may want to let that go. But if you can let that go, then you can live the full life of that starving entrepreneur, which means I can live in a van, motherfucker. I can go camping. I can do whatever the fuck I want and live that life, although I may not live this other part, right? So it's the acceptance that people struggle with, Matty. It's that acceptance of self, dog. It's that true acceptance of self that begins with a love for self, not a vainness for self, not a I love me because of my performance. I always go back to this. People value themselves based on how they fucking perform and what the fuck they acquire. And that's not true. We have human fucking potential. That's value, period. So however the fuck you perform, whatever you don't acquire does not put human value on who the fuck we are. And most people stuck in that corporate shit and roll through it just like this. They find rational reasons, like you did, my dog, that you have to keep the job to do FP. And I'm going to tell you, that's irrational, my brother. You've been doing FP already like a motherfucker. It's just about willing to let go of the social constructs you need to keep that going, my baby. Just choose, my dog. Just choose. Anybody out there listening and hears this ever, just fucking choose. Just choose. Because then even if you choose the corporate job, the clock in, clock out, you can fucking accept it. And then at least you can go, hey, yeah, I'm a slave for 70% of my fucking life, okay? And I'm cool with that. And if you can say that, hey, I go to work every day to make somebody else's dream come true. I mean, and you can live with that, but then fucking by all means, just don't vote. You know what I mean? But just do something else, man. I'm rampaging like a motherfucker, bro. You know, but for you, man, the more that it's for everybody, because I know everybody listening is awake like that. The more we come awake, the faster our mind moves. And for you, you're finding peace in the stationary of the distraction because you're trying to adjust to the mind waking up that wants to go all the time. So it's comfort to go into a series. It's comfort to go into YouTube because that's what your mind used to do. So it becomes comfortable. Instead, it's flipping to Nowdy's mind. It's flipping to that go, 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 go. And that's why, you know, it pulls you off. But what you have to do is accept and be aware your mind is going to change and move to that pattern of speed, of thinking, process, thought, questioning, awareness, and then utilizing that, like Stephen Kotler says in the flow state, is then find you the 6 things that you do roughly. 1 that feeds flow or recovers flow, and 5 that allows flow. Stick to those things that are productive, right? They don't have to be the series. And then what you got to do is then schedule time for the recovery. So your Sundays are the day you Xbox and Netflix for fucking 15 goddamn hours, dude. You know what I mean? And then the other days you're in those 5 things that you do all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. I know what you're saying.
Oh, did I fucking rampage, bro? I went the fuck off, man. Sorry about that, dude.
No, that's cool, man. I agree with everything you said. I already have I'm trying to get over to Seattle at the moment, man. So there's a few things in the pipeline, a few obstacles I've got to get over, but I made that decision when I was in the master course. So hang on.
Head MMA coach for the FP Academy coming in hopefully the next year and a half. Booyah, motherfuckers.
That's what the fuck I'm saying, baby. I knew it. I fucking knew it, man. Oh, I knew it. That's my boy. Hey, you're gonna watch your boy Jeremy Stevens take that title, right?
Fuck yeah.
You're gonna knock that
Take
out.
that shit.
Uh-huh.
Take those lucky charms.
Take those lucky charms, yeah. Yeah, so there is a few obstacles I'm trying to get over, man. Like my city where I'm in, they're going through a pretty massive economic depression. I've lost more than half the value of my house, and there's a few other little details, man. Like my missus got to get a visa.
Just your town or Australia in general?
Oh, my city, bro. We had liquefied natural gas company come to town. Well, 3 different ones, and my town's small, man. We got about 30,000 people. And then there was all of a sudden 10,000 new jobs in construction on top of what was already there. So people just came in from everywhere, and they were not just any job. They were very, very well-paying jobs. You know what I mean? Over $200,000 a year just as a TA, you know, as a labourer. So massive amounts of money. So people were coming from all over the country, jumping over each other, trying to get these jobs. And the infrastructure wasn't there. So we were building houses as quick as we could. But people were living in tents and living in caravans just on the side of the street, just working at these jobs. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't any place to stay. And so the house prices in my city just went skyrocketing. And then now they've come way back below where they were, because now all those jobs are finished. It's gone from 10,500 construction jobs to like, I'm not 100% sure of this number, but it's like 600 or 800 operating jobs. So, like, yeah, more than 9,000 people that were living and working there on big money are now gone.
Well, I mean, look, big corporations showed up, soaked up all the natural resource and money that needed, and then the big real estate guys that know that, they move in, know it's housing, throw up a bunch of Lincoln log homes made of matchsticks, put a bunch of shit up, write some sort of transparent ninja type loan, get everybody approved that doesn't deserve one. By the time the job's out, they can't pay on their house. It's all foreclosed on. Now the natural resources is gone. We're fucking out of here, and you're fucking Detroit.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. So my city's all industrial. There's lots of different industrial places there. It's all big corporations, multinational corporations that own everything. But this one, it was the construction phase to the production phase, and that more than 90% reduction in jobs that crushed it, because they built all these houses, right? And now there's no people to live in them. And then everyone that bought them at the time, like I know people that were 21 working on those construction jobs, making that, you know, $200,000 a year. And then they bought their house for $500,000. And then a year later, they have no job. And they're like, well, what do I do now? So there's houses being foreclosed all over my city. You go, bro.
They're foreclosing, I mean, many skyscrapers in Detroit right now, man. There's a couple things you can look up. I'll actually email you a few inside things I may have allegedly found, but there's pictures of inside of these empty high-rise buildings in Detroit, man, where they're finding bodies and shit. Like, it's crazy, man. Like, these high-rises turn into these fucking, like, real haunted house shit, dog. You know what I mean? Where you're going up in these crazy places. I mean, it sounds like what's starting to happen to what happened to us here in, you know, The Big Short in 2008. It sounds like that's starting to hit over there, man.
Yeah. But it's really isolated because it's just that one city. You know what I mean? Oh. So, like here in Sydney, when we're in Sydney, man, it's incredible. People are paying ridiculous money.
I totally forgot. Do you had the gas company come in? And that, you know what? It's more the comparison to like a private prison. There's so many private prisons that they built towns around, like literal new zip codes and shit. And that prison, the private prison system is kind of being shut down, sort of. So as that's going away, whole towns are fucking history. You know what I mean? Which is good, which is why you shouldn't have fucking done it to begin with. And you shouldn't be building towns around fucking incarcerated people for fucking plants.
Yeah, bro. So we kind of do a little bit of that. So that liquefied natural gas that they built in my city, they also do that out in the middle of the desert, like thousands of miles away from any major city. Yeah. And they build like little temporary camps, and like one of the guys in the course works there. I think he just quit his job actually. But so people, the way they work and the way they live, they work for a month straight, say 5,000 miles away from where they actually live, and they go home for 7 days. Well, really 6 days because they're flying for a whole day, really. And then they go back and work for a whole nother month straight, totally away, totally isolated from everyone. You know what I mean? It's really difficult on families and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, that travel journeyman shit doesn't play, man. I mean, look, for the most part, to make it in this country nowadays, both people have to work. And if both parents don't work, the other person is never fucking home. I mean, my brother, back when he owned his multinational companies, he was doing what he was doing, selling stuff. But, dude, he would be on a plane, 30 days a week. You know what I mean? Days would get made up during the week. You know what I mean? This dude flew, and he just lived like that, man. It's fucking nuts, man. So to make it these days, everyone is having to struggle like that. I mean, it went away years and years ago over here, that idea of you could graduate high school even, work your way in a company, do work, do some job, and afford a life. Good fucking luck, dude. It ain't happening. I mean,
yeah, but why?
You were saying?
Why is it not happening? You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying. I know exactly what you're talking about, but that's probably one of the most pressing issues in society. How is that okay? How is everyone saying, oh, well, we'll just adjust to the new norm? That's not right, man. People can't do that shit. It's wrong. I don't want to. Society's not improving.
We're frogs. We're frogs in a pot, baby. They just slowly turning that boil on, brother. That's all.
I just read this book, man. It's hang on. I read this book here.
Yeah, that's the one you sent over to me. Yeah. That. All right.
It's about our tribal ancestors, right? And so in the book, they talk about one specific tribe. I forget the name, but it's a small book. You know what I mean? You'll go through that book in a day if you want to easily. But they talk about this one tribe. So you're saying today, we need two parents working full time, basically, if you want to live any sort of comfortable life. But and to get those jobs, really, you need a college degree, so you need to get massive debt. So what are we building here? This doesn't make sense. Aren't we supposed to be moving forward all the time? Aren't we supposed to be improving all the time? We've got the ability to automate so much shit. Something like 1900s or a long, long time ago, we had the ability to work. I forget which American president it was. One of the presidents announced that we probably only need to work 8-hour days to supply all the needs for the whole country, right? And then I don't know if you've seen that documentary, BBC documentary called Century of Self, but they talk about it in that, and it's like we've created this consumer society, but for what, man? Like, who wants to live like what you just described?
But they do, because why? Here's your toys. Shut up. You know what I mean? That's it. That's what it is. Here's your toys. Here's your Facebook. Here's your pictures that no one ever looks at anymore. You know what I mean? And here, that's it. And just shut up, America. There was an old, what did Bill Hicks used to say? Here's American Gladiators, America. Go back to sleep. Here, watch that.
Absolutely, though. Yeah, so like that tribe, they were saying that they lived in one of the harshest environments on the planet, and they only had, in America, I should say, and they only had to work roughly 16 hours a week, man, to survive. Like, that's dream to me. That's prime. Imagine that. You can spend, if I do 16 hours of quote unquote work, assuming it's something that I don't totally have a passion for, I'm happy at the moment. I'm doing 50 hours a week. You know what I mean? So, and I'm one of the better off.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
How are we moving forward if we're working much?
That 1% is moving forward. So I mean, they're moving forward. So everything's going according to plan. You know what I mean?
I can't understand that, bro. Why? If you're that 1%, if you've got so many zeros in your bank account that you don't even know what to do with it, why do you even want to move forward? Why do you want more? Okay, yeah, move forward, but you don't need to acquire more wealth.
performance-based value. It's a measure of performance, thus value. So America has preached and does to our little ones from day one, performance equals value. Here's your credit card, Johnny. Did you get a satisfaction on your little kindergarten little thing? What does a kindergartner need a fucking grade for? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if it's an S or a whatever. It's like you already know they shouldn't have a grade. That's why you're giving them S's and satisfaction and shit. You wait till first grades till you start hitting them with the fucking "you failed, fucker." You know what I mean? Then you start hitting them with the tables of letters and shit. You know what I mean? It's oh man, I'm going on a tangent, bro. I mean, well, man, I had like 3 different things to feel to talk about, man. You hit a couple buttons on me, man. You know, look, I'm gonna go on a limb and say some crazy shit, but maybe social pressure pushed slavery to go away. But then I'm going to tell you the 1% found it and said, you know what? We don't need to fight this anymore because we devised a way to have all of you fuckers enslaved, and we don't have to pay for your house or your food. So all of you people, all of your cultures, you know what? Come to this country. That's right. You can build a dream on your own back. Well, build my dream on your back on this conveyor belt. Yeah. And thanks to that, you're all fucking slaves, bitches. You know what I mean? So it's like, who cares about, you know what, go ahead. You know what, now we don't have to house everybody. We don't have to feed them. They go home, so we don't have to fuck with them. And then they're going to come back to work just free. They're going to come back. 70% of their life is a slave, and they keep coming back. It's like the 1%, I can see them sitting around going, look at these fucking rats. Look at them. They go, they come, they go, they come. They do the same route every day to work, right? It's the same fucking way to the cheese. Then it's Fridays, same fucking route to the beer, right? It's the same fucking mazes we're running, bro. I mean, all of it. Shit, dog, I'm guilty, too, up my own ass, too. I can't even fuck around. I live in suburbia. I got a 16-year-old daughter. Come on. Hey, like you said, here I am. I'm just the one screaming, throwing a fit about the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. It's like that. Like Steve Hughes, yeah?
Yeah.
He does a joke about it. He's like, he's talking, like the owners of the slaves are talking about the slaves. And he's like, hey, man, I think I figured this shit out. He's like, we could just pay these guys $2.50 an hour and send them home. We won't have to clothe them or house them or feed them or worry about their health or anything. He's like, okay. Okay, guys, you're all free to go. See you back here tomorrow at 7:30, eh? It's brilliant, man. That guy's incredible. I love him.
I do too, man. And that's it, brother. And you know what? That alarm goes the fuck off. Into the car we go. You know, I want to one day just measure how much time is really spent in the fucking car. You know what I mean? Like, this is Orlando. You can get just about anywhere in an hour. 2 hours if there's traffic times, right? So, and the city ain't that big. If no one's on the road, I can get from anywhere to anywhere in a half an hour. But it's 2 hours if it's a couple times of the day. So I wonder, 2 hours on the way to work, 2 hours on the way home from work, at least 8 hours that you have to get paid for. The other 4 you're putting in is free because it's salary and they'll hire somebody else anyway. So you're putting in fucking 1 million hours. How much are you sitting in that fucking car, grabbing your steering wheel and going like, one fucking day, get out of my fucking way, right? One day. You know, and it's the, I can't remember the comedian either, dude. I listen to so much comedy, but he talks about, it's Louis C.K. He goes, you're in the car, and he goes, I'm ashamed of what I say. He's like, this one guy came by me, and I was like, well, I hope you fucking die. You know, and he's like, now I wonder if I'm in the elevator, and the guy leans on me a little bit. If I looked over, hey, fuck you, man. You know what I mean? Would you do that in the elevator? No. But you're in the car, and you're like, oh, dude, it's fucking on. But that tells me something. You know what I mean? It fucking tells me something. If we're in this thing that I'm willing to get out and shoot someone out of because I'm going to be a little late, dude, what the fuck? Something is going wrong, man. Something is wrong with that picture.
Definitely, bro. The town I live in, I don't have to deal with that. I don't like cities because of that reason, bro. Now he's got it hooked up. He lives fucking an elevator ride away from where he works. That's smart, man. Like where I live is a small town, bro. So it's 3-4 minutes drive from my house to where I work.
Yeah.
So that's, I can't relate to that. I can relate to that because when I visit the cities, you go, bro. Sorry. Yeah, so I can relate to that when I visit the cities, man. But I hate it. I couldn't. I don't. ever wished, I don't know why people like to live in the cities. Yeah, you get more entertainment value. That's not what I'm hoping for in my life. Do you know what I mean? I can supply my own entertainment. I want to contribute and create something with my life, you know, make something. I don't want to just sit there and watch the show and be entertained. To me, that's why most people move to the city. It's either because there's more attractive people or because there's more entertainment value. Why else do you want to go to a large city, you know? Unless it's a job, right? Corporate jobs and stuff like that.
Well, you bring up a question, man, because I do contemplate on that point a lot of this mass migration to cities. I mean, you're seeing that. You're seeing people move to these huge metropolises, and over time, it's supposed to really space out. And a lot of that suburbia is kind of going away in some places. And I wonder though, I don't know if that's good or bad. You know, there's things where I go, okay, we can consolidate resources, not so many cars driving giant distances like in Orlando, right? So you can control pollution certain ways. I get it, right? You consolidate, there's some pros, but then I do, like that face you just made. I sit there and kind of go, I don't know though, man, because when that fucking mass hysteria shit hits, it gets fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It's always like New York is down. It's never like, you know, Lexington went away. You know what I mean? It's always the big city that has the outbreak or the fucking crazy shit that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, like about efficiency and that. I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Hong Kong, and he said he never leaves his block. He doesn't have his driver's license. Everything he wants is on his block. It's like multiple level city block. And everything's kind of joined together, and you kind of get a membership card for being on the block, and there's shopping centers and everything. You know what I mean? They've got their own little. Hong Kong's pretty advanced, bro, because it's a tiny place, massive amount of money, massive amount of people. But yeah, he basically never leaves his block for his whole life. Everything he can do on his block, basically. They even have like a classifieds, like a swap and sell sort of thing for that block. You know what I mean? Online sort of setup. Yeah, and you can just go this apartment.
This fucking app that I got on my phone, I moved into this neighborhood. Man, my headphones just went for shit. I moved in this neighborhood, and there's this app you can download, and it's like crazy. Everyone knows everybody in the app. They're doing like you said, there's classifieds on this app. Hell, when someone new moves in, they're like, hey, introduce yourself to so-and-so. I'm like, I don't want to talk to Bob and his new fucking lawnmower. I don't know. You know what I mean? Frankly, I don't even like my house being on an app somewhere, man. You know what I mean? There are advancements, right? There are pros and cons. So I really don't know what to think, you know, the city movement, you know, of that. I get it, I guess, but that's a lot of fucking people, man. That when you put that many animals, I mean, look, we won't even eat chicken that comes from a pen where they're all stacked on top of each other. Much less I'm going to go live literally in a building where they're shitting on top of each other. They're literally stacked on top of each other, shitting on top of one another.
Yeah, bro. So it all comes, for me, you got to start looking at the big picture, and you got to start planning accordingly. We can't just have this, we're all free, we can do what we want whenever we want as long as we got enough money. That doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? It's not a good idea just because I can afford to do it and I want to do it. That doesn't mean it's a good idea. But that's how we live, right? Most of us live like that. So, and what you're saying about like what I was saying about Hong Kong and that efficiency setup, there's not many cities that are like that. It's pretty much the only one that I'm aware of. Everywhere else, you're trafficking, commuting, it's hectic. It's a nightmare. Like you explained just before about Orlando, that's my interpretation of all big cities that I've been to, excepting with the one exception of that guy that I know in Hong Kong. But so what I'm saying is if you're going to develop any of this sort of stuff, you know what the population of the planet is, you know that it's growing. If you're not going to address that, then you're going to have to start being incredibly precise with how you design cities and living infrastructure and all that sort of stuff. We can't just keep doing what we're doing at the moment. Just retrofitting, building wider and wider, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the I-4 is a big interstate here, and I think they've had construction on I-4, I don't know, since 1906. I mean, it's always under construction, and my thought was, you know, population's growing, you know the rate it's growing, you know you're building the largest interstate through the city. Motherfucker, build it the right size the first time. I mean, just make it 8 lanes and start there. You know what I mean? Don't build the 2-lane fucking road. You know it's getting bigger. Now, I get it. They have budgets, and if they spend too much, it's all about increasing your budget every fucking year, etc. I get it. More people making more money and bonuses is a long way, right? Dude, we could do this all night, Matty.
Yeah, I know.
We gotta get going.
Yeah, we got to get going soon, bro.
Man, I gotta go cook some dinner, man, for my ladies. Oh shit, life, man, made us go already. Look at that. Shit, you there?
Yeah, but I highly recommend they talk about the differences between the society that we have now and the inherent problems, and it's actually addressing specifically PTSD, but it applies to a lot of different things, man.
Well, you broke up right when you were saying the name of the book and stuff.
It's called Tribe by Sebastian Junger.
Yeah, that one. I wasn't sure which one you had mentioned because I missed the beginning part. But yeah, you know what? And I'm gonna give a shout out to Tyranny of Words too, bro. Like,
of course, bro. Yeah, that's definitely a reference point that everyone I believe is beneficial to everyone, man.
Once I get further into it, I'd like to do a show where we specifically come on and just talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
You'll have to let me prepare for that one.
You better read the fucking book, man. Like somebody told me to.
Read it. I've read it. It was about 6 to 8 months ago now, though. But yeah, it'll be good to brush up on it, bro.
Yeah, one of those things I do because I need flow state, so I always need like 7 things to do so I can keep doing different things. So you end up with like 10 books. So like, yeah, I'm reading 10 books. So this one, I don't want to read that today. You know what I mean? I'm reading this one today. I even have a fiction book my daughter bought me, which I don't read fiction, but it's The Life of Pi. It was from my daughter trying to help me sleep at night. You know, so I'm like, all right. So I even got one of them lined up, man. You know what I mean? So when I finish that fucker eventually, man, I really like to come on and go deep with it.
Yeah, cool, man. Sweet.
Cool, man. All right, bro. Get to it over there in Australia, man. Thanks good to finally meet you sort of outside of the chat room thing.
Yeah, too easy, bro. Thanks, heaps, eh?
Yeah, you too.
I hope it was beneficial to someone.
Man, it was for me, so fuck them.
Sweet, me too, bro. See you later, right?
There we go. That's right. I'm a selfish fuck, right? So, no, I'm kidding, man. I'm sure they did. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching live, everybody that's slowly bouncing out, man. Love the fuck out of all you out there. Love you FP fuckers that are watching, man. Dope as shit. Hey, did he showed you the gain sign that I threw up, right? It was FP. The FP's got their own shit, so you can start throwing it up. You go FP, baby. Nah, but you guys keep doing it, man. Thanks a lot, man, for coming on, Matty. Love you all out there. Love you much.
All right, cheers, bro. See ya.